Oh, it's that time of year. It feels so good as we look towards the Labor Day Classic. And while the Riders are rolling a little bit, coming off a big win and now a bye week to be fresh to take on the Blue Bombers, Winnipeg has won 5 straight games and well, things are just looking good for Winnipeg. What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside Bonfire Midweek. My name is Darrin Bauming. Let's bring in the man to no further ado. Zach Schnitzer. How are you, my
That's
friend?
right.
Parts unknown, West Hawk Lake. Where are you joining us
hmm
from?
I'm from West Hawk, buddy. It's beautiful out here. You can see the fall colors starting to creep in. But yeah, I got a beef with you. You called me the man, which I appreciate. But you add some monikers to our friend Chris Walby, the man, the myth, the legend. I never get myth or legend. I take just one of two, buddy. Come on.
It would have to be myth, right?
A legend in my own mind? Come on.
Yeah. Well, I know all the fire starters out there are happy to see you, and we are happy to see everybody out there in the live chat. What's going on? Seeing Scott and Sandy and Brian, Charlie. Oh, how about that? Big Beaver Jerry is here. How
Yes.
about that? Good to see from Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. 50-year Bomber fan living in Ryderville. Wonder if you'll be at the game, Big Beaver Jerry. Got your voicemail the other day. Haven't been able to figure out how to play it on here yet, but that's okay because while we all want to hear from you and everybody in the live chat, we are going to hear today on the show from quarterback Zach Collaros, who, if you follow me on Twitter, I kind of teased, said he's still pissed off, still mad about stupid mistakes that he made last week in Calgary. We're also going to, I'll share with you guys my one-on-one conversation with the CFL's leading rusher, Brady Oliveira. Zach, you and I, well, what are you and I going to be up to today?
Well, we gotta get around the league, buddy. You got to talk about what happened in week 12. You've got a Bombers practice update. I know you were there today, and I got to do my sober second thought, and then we're gonna get to our mid-season awards, my friend. It's the midpoint. It's Labor Day. It's when things get fired up here. It's freaking Labor Day. I'm excited. I love watching Labor Day Classic, and especially since we've won two in a row, going for the three-peat. The three-peat. Yes, we deserve at least one three-peat. So we're going to talk about mid-season awards for the Bombers, and then we're going to debate, should the Bombers be number one in the power rankings, or should it be
Mm,
the Argos? And then, of course, we're going to get to our picks, buddy.
yeah. Our picks for SIA.com/bonfire. And,
Yes, sir.
we'll see how we did. Hang around for that. Well, you know what? Let's get right into it. At Blue Bombers practice today, we did see. I'll tease you guys. Stick around after the Zach Collaros interview. A little bit of an update on Teodric Hansen, linebacker Malik Clements, Janarian Grant spotted at practice today. Was he on the field? Was he practicing? Hang on, we'll let you know in just a second. But let's hear from quarterback Zach Collaros, who has just shown so much resiliency this year to play football through the bad, through the good, and ultimately help this Blue Bombers team to a 9-2 record. So let's hear from the Blue Bombers quarterback.
Do you have Labor Day memories that stick out for you? Labor Day games?
Oh yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought about it in a while, I guess, but yeah, dating back to my time in Toronto and Hamilton, those Labor Day games were always big, and obviously, the year that I was there in Sask, and ever since I've been here, I think you truly feel the magnitude of the game, within the two provinces, and it's just really a special environment every time we get together, and again, especially on Labor Day, it's awesome.
When you say you feel the magnitude, how do you feel it?
I think during the week, everybody's got a little, pep in their step, and you see people around town, and everybody's very friendly here and says hello, anyways. But it's hey, it's Labor Day, let's go. We're playing Sask, so it's a big deal. Obviously, it's a great environment out there in Sask. The fans are really good, and it's gonna take a great effort by us, but the adrenaline's definitely gonna be picked up for sure.
Playing the Labor Day game in Regina as a Bomber versus, say, week 2 playing in Regina as a Bomber. Different, the same?
I think it's different. Again, it is a really good fan base. They're loud. Really proud of their team. But again, I'm sure they'll have no problem getting people in the seats out there for this one. And again, it's just a special day, not just in the CFL, but all of Canada. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do the fans let you skate a little bit because you used to be a rider, or do they hate you because you're a bomber? Like that Wasp, apparently.
They probably hate me, but it is what it is. It's all right.
Zach,
I've been on like every side of this thing, so it's all good.
What's been the key to shrugging off the interceptions, and particularly the pick sixes?
Just playing, just taking it one play at a time. That play's over. It's in the past. Obviously you never want to put your team in a hole, which I did last week. But again, the guys rallied around me, and we were able to string some drives together and make some big plays, score touchdowns, which was big.
When you were a younger quarterback, would that have been a lot more difficult to do?
I think if didn't have the guys around me like I have now, the maturity of the room, it would probably make it more difficult. But myself personally, I'd like to think that I could, flush it and go to the next play. It's kind of what I've been taught as a quarterback or as an athlete my entire life, is to do that. So I just think we have a really good group, all three phases, and that's what made it able to attain and accomplish.
Do you really flush it? Do you really forget it? Because Mike, said afterwards, you're the kind of guy that.
Yeah, I'm still pissed about it. I'm still mad about it, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you
think about the rest of the year.
Have you had to sleep? Have you had a good
I'll probably think about the
sleep
rest of the year.
since
Just
No,
next season probably. Honestly.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not kidding.
You are okay. You are. You're dead
That
serious.
game in particular?
Just stupid stuff. When you do stupid things, and you play the game in your head all throughout the week. You spend a lot of time. At least we do in our room. We walk the call sheet every morning. We walk it at night. Whether it's first down, second down, the red area, all those things, all the situations, you go through. In the first play of the game was a 4x2, an empty play, and you kind of go through all the scenarios of what they can play, what they can give you, what they can take away, the stick concept with the field and the hitch concept with to the boundary, and they kind of did that. And you walk through it and you say, hey, I got to burn the ball here, and then you go out and do something stupid like that and put your team in a hole quickly. It's a shitty feeling.
Zach, wanted to ask you about Brady Oliveira and what you've seen in him from last year, hitting 1,000 yards for the first time in his career, to the numbers that he's clearly putting up off the charts.
I mean, Brady, I think has been the same, since he's started playing, but he just continues to grow and to mature and into a professional. Not saying he wasn't a professional before, but I think he's found a routine that works for him. Whether that's at practice or in the weight room or in the training room, or how he watches film, how he interacts with his teammates. All those things. I can't say enough good things about him. He's always a calming presence in the huddle. You never have to worry about if he knows what he's doing. He's a true pro, and obviously the talent there speaks for itself, and his toughness always shines through. Whether he's picking up a Mike linebacker or he's hitting the hole there on a 2nd and 2 or a situation in the 4th where we need the first down, he never backs down.
I've had people ask me about how defenses approach you guys when you have a run game that is as effective as it is, and you obviously have the receiving weaponry around you. Do you see defenses maybe having to be more honest because of how you can kind of...
I don't know about that. I think the way that we run our offense is different than a lot of teams do. So we do see different, we see pictures here. We do see a lot of different coverages. And I'm sure defensive coordinators may argue that if I'm saying that. But it just seems, some of the situations where we're passing the ball, we get some different looks than what we prepared for during the week. And we usually do a pretty good job of adjusting to it as the game goes on. But, we haven't been a team that drops back 45 times in a game, and you consistently see a 4-man rush, and you consistently see a cut look into the boundary and a 4 or a hold look to the field. We just don't get a ton of that. I think we need to get good at that and be able to play a game like that, in games where we do get behind. But I think Buck does a really good job of preparing us all week long. The coaches do, and we kind of play our game. So I can't even remember exactly what you asked me, but we do see some different things, based on what we like to do. But you're right, the talent that we have a receiver, in my opinion, is off the charts, and we can be dangerous, with Brady and all of our backs and handing the ball off to our offensive line, or pushing the ball downfield. So,
is it obvious that game planning and strategy changes when you play the same team 2 weeks in a row?
You're talking about these guys here. Some teams do what they do. Some teams, like last week they kind of throw a different, curveball at you, week by week. Shav's always been a guy who's done a really good job of mixing things up. I think his guys understand what they do, from a coverage standpoint, whether it's the various zones that they'll cycle through, some of their match type principles, and then obviously getting after the passer when it's man coverage. They're really well coached, and he does a really good job mixing it up. So, I don't anticipate, it going from, A to Z week to week with him, but I think I know he does a really good job and has a really good feel for the game and kind of calling it from the gut of what the moment is, what the situation is. So you always got to be ready for that kind of stuff.
Just quickly back to what we were talking about before. Are you pissed off in the moment, or are you pissed off more after the game when you're thinking about it?
I'm just always pissed off. That's Darrin.
That works.
Zach Collaros, always pissed off. He jests.
Love that.
His media availability following day one of practice at IG Field today. What are your takeaways from that, Zach?
I just love the guy, man. Like, he's always pissed off. He just, the way he jokes around, he's funny. But he's telling the truth. Like, it's like that wasp is continually stinging him based on those plays from last week. And as a fan, you kind of like hearing that, right? Like, I'm thinking, yeah, you should be pissed off. That was a bad play. That first pick six, especially to Tyrell Richards, that was his first pass of the game. But you'd like him to be pissed off about that and to use it as fuel, as juice, to come out and lay a spanking on his old team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Yeah, I love it. I want to hear more of it.
Yeah, I think it's just, that's the type of player you want leading your team, right? That's the type of player that guys can rally around, and it's not a rah-rah thing. It's a lead by example thing, that he can make a stupid mistake on the field and then go throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
He can flush it. And then brutally honest, like he was right there, saying, yeah, of course I'm still pissed off about it. Yeah, I'm still mad about it. Yeah, I'm probably going to be thinking about it next year, right? He's enjoying, or I should say, we can enjoy somebody who is just brutally honest, that like, hey, I made a mistake. I make mistakes, and I'm not going to let it affect me on the field, but I'm also not going to pretend like I'm not thinking about it, right? I think that's such a good thing.
Yeah.
Guys can say, hey, I can make a mistake too, but I sure don't want to.
Yeah. Well, and I could tell, and he kind of, he's it looks like he's having a little bit of fun with the media too. Like, it seems like he's a guy who's been in front of the camera so many times that he's just like, he's kind of almost bored of it. Like, he's just like, okay, what are you guys going to ask me today? Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he's somebody that, like, he's incredibly intelligent individual, right? And obviously a talented athlete and great quarterback and all those things. But I think it's the very, very intelligent, like both mentally intelligent and emotionally intelligent individuals that do have fun with the media like that, are tongue in cheek, are playful, are light, because they're confident in themselves. And they also know that while they might be talking to reporters, and some athletes don't like talking to reporters because they think they're, the enemy, or they're going to, put salt in a wound or twist their words or whatever. But the ones that are very, very intelligent and insightful, I think, realize that the media, for what they are, a conduit to the fans. So when they ask questions that bring up, crummy times, making, a bad pass or an intercept, whatever, it's, let's be honest, let's be, playful about this, and, have a back and forth. That was Collaros having a back and forth with Jeff Hamilton of the Winnipeg Free Press. And,
Right.
I think it speaks volumes about the type of individual Collaros is. People should be pretty proud that, not just, oh yeah, he's a great quarterback, but you got a guy like that. That's something to be proud of too.
Oh, for sure, man. I just love the guy, and he holds himself so accountable, right? Like, he is eating it. He's willing to say to people, yeah, I screwed up big time. It feels shitty. I'm mad. And he's going to come out with a vengeance next time because it'll fuel him. So just love it. Just love it. But it was funny when you asked about Labor Day. He's like, well, he's been part of Toronto, he's been part of Hamilton, he's been part of Saskatchewan, now he's part of Winnipeg. Like, he's heard these questions so many times before, and he's like, yada yada yada, get on with it, yeah,
Get get
that.
this. In his career, Zach Collaros in Labor Day games, in his CFL career, 6-0. 3 wins with Hamilton, 1 with the Riders, and 2 with the Blue Bombers. In
That's
those 6
crazy.
games, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and in half of those games threw for 300 plus yards. And in one of those
Wow.
300-yard games, he had 400 yards in 2015 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just unbelievable. Seems to turn it on in that, quote unquote, unofficial second half, the real season in the CFL. Do want to mention, and hang tight, everybody. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up. Zach and I are going to go around the league. He'll have his sober second thought. We are going to talk about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and if they should be number 1 in the power rankings, or should it still be the Toronto Argonauts, who have kind of been wire to wire so far. We'll hand out our mid-season awards as well. All Bombers players, Winnipeg's mid-season awards, but do want to draw attention right now to Brenda Bourns and Event Strategy Productions. They provide full-service event planning, production, and marketing. Have an idea? Got an event coming up? Brenda and her team will take care of it all, from marketing, promotion, and sales to full-scale event production and everything in between. Get ready with Event Strategy Productions. We know what you were thinking, and you can connect with Brenda at brendabourns.ca. And welcoming Brenda along here to the Bonfire family. Great to have her, and she's going to be doing some work for us as well. But nice to have her as a supporter of the channel, and support us by supporting her. So if you know somebody that needs a little bit of marketing help, or some strategy, some communications, you're putting on an event, a fundraiser, a charity event, a private event, it doesn't matter. Brenda can help you. BrendaBourns.ca, and I'll be sure to put the link to her new website up in the video description below if you're watching this afterwards. But BrendaBourns.ca.
Brenda Bourns, I should talk to her about my daughter's bat mitzvah. It's only 4 years away, Darren.
There you go.
We
She
got to
knows some
start. We got to
people.
start
She knows some
planning.
people.
Yeah, I bet she does. I got to talk to her. What should we do for this signature moment in our daughter's young life?
That is pretty
It's got
cool.
to be good. It's already getting
Early
stressed about it.
congratulations. And Mazel tov. Okay, let's get into. Do you want to go around the league? Let's go around
Yeah,
the
let's
league.
do a quick around the league.
Yeah. So
See what
before we
happened last
do
week.
our mid-season awards and that sort of thing, let's go around the league. Here we go. I finally got it lined
Oh,
up.
but
Here.
we gotta hear from Brady too, right?
Yeah, got a one-on-one with Brady Oliveira as well. So hang tight for
you're
that.
the
We
man.
kind of talk.
You're
We
the
talk
man.
on the field. We talk off the field. We talk about him leading the league in rushing, what's working for him there, but also just some of the charity work that he does, and his approach. How he was raised here in Winnipeg, right, making him into the guy he is. It was a pretty good conversation. But CFL Week 12 was a weird one, Zach. Really weird. Because the Blue Bombers, do I got this right? Oh yeah, I got it. Okay. The wildness of this week was maybe highlighted by the Edmonton Elks getting a second straight win and first at home in years. The Argonauts putting up a pretty valiant fight for a win against the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions losing for a second straight game, and they have lost 3 of 4, going all the way back to that Blue Bombers beatdown at IG Field. That is Winnipeg's beatdown of BC, not the one in week 3 where it was the other way around. And the Bombers really rolled against the Montreal Alouettes.
Yep. Yeah, I think the Argos Calgary game was probably the best one of the weekend. everyone was talking about that. It was tied, I think, at 31-31, which is, a huge score, 62 points combined, until Javon Leake brought it back for the touchdown. Something we'll talk about later when we debate our power rankings, um, because special teams has really been a strength of the Argos. And now Javon Leake has 4 kick return touchdowns this year. So he's really lighting it up, as is their
Yeah.
blocking schemes, right?
Just a crazy talent, and the way he's been able to turn it on lately is something as well. Chad Kelly still trails Zach Collaros in the CFL passing charts. Obviously, Vernon Adams Jr. missing some time with injury, kind of put him back a little bit, but 361 yards through the air for Chad Kelly in this game. And uh, Dar- uh, Darius, is it Darius Coxey? Gosh.
Demetrius, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, but it is Coxey. Led the
Yeah.
way with 102 yards. Cam Phillips had probably I would say probably one of his most productive games in the CFL with 4 catches for 63, but really spread the ball out, as you can see there. Now, Calgary is interesting. Suddenly, Jake Mayer decides to ball out and go 4 touchdowns, no picks, and 387 yards. We talk often, Zach, about players, whether they're reading their own press clippings or that sort of thing. Maybe Jake Mayer was reading the press clippings, criticizing him of just not throwing the ball downfield. That didn't stop him from really utilizing Reggie Begelton to a degree of 9 catches for 203 yards and a pair of touchdowns.
Well, yeah, and Mayer is an interesting one, right? Because we beat them 19-18. He throws that horrible pick to Mario Houston, although Houston made a great play on the ball. But he's a guy who can really sling it for almost 400 yards, and then other games he's throwing picks and throwing balls into the dirt. But I think it again, it speaks to the power rankings thing. The Argos are vulnerable to the pass. I looked at the stats today, and I believe they were one of the worst teams against the pass, even though they have a good defense. So they're vulnerable that way. And of course, that's something that the Bombers can exploit. Unfortunately, we only play them once in Winnipeg. We were talking about this in Winnipeg, right? So even if the Bombers narrowly beat them, there's still going to be questions like who is the better team? Like we don't get to play them in Toronto, which is always a tough place to play for Bomber fans, as we know. But yeah, well, it was a spectacular game, and I'm sure Calgary fans and CFL fans in general are hopefully, um, they're hoping that Mayer can be a little more consistent.
Yeah, they definitely need him to be more consistent. They are in the midst, of course, of that kind of hellacious stretch of games where they have BC, Toronto, Winnipeg, uh, I think, and Toronto twice. It's like those 3 teams in each of their
Yeah,
next 4 games. And as you see up on the screen there, the Stampeders begin their Labor Day back to back with the Edmonton Elks. And it's just amazing to say that if Edmonton can win a 3rd straight game and Calgary, they have struggled at home this year for the most part, that Edmonton can leapfrog them in the standings. And suddenly the team that we thought was dead and buried, for the most part, is suddenly ahead of the Calgary Stampeders. That would be something. I'm looking forward to that game on Monday.
well, and it was nice to see Edmonton win at home. It was great, and Trey Ford, I think now 2 weeks in a row is the Pro Football Focus top quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's really exciting for Edmonton. I'm thrilled for them. I'm thrilled we beat them and came back from 22-0. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also thrilled, not equally, but close. I'm also thrilled that they're beating teams. They're not a basement dweller. They're not 0-11 now. They're 2-9,
Yep.
and they have a chance to leapfrog Calgary on Labor Day in Calgary. As you said, Calgary doesn't play well. It's exciting. It's exciting, and Trey Ford is exciting. He runs, he throws. He does it all.
Yeah, 317 yards passing, added 74 on the ground touchdown through the air, touchdown with his wheels. And Gino Lewis, his, I believe, second game back after spending a lot of time on the injured list to start the year, had a just phenomenal deep touchdown grab where he shook the
Yeah.
defender after the catch and just kind of trotted in humbly, I will put, for arguably the best, most talented receiver in the CFL. Dustin Crum, no Crum back in this game, had 172 through the air. Demetrius Williams had 84 yards on the ground as they really tried to utilize the run game, did the Ottawa Red Blacks, but they're a flawed team. They are a very, very flawed team. And Edmonton, I mean, hey, let's not bury the lead here. Getting their first win in 30 games or whatever it was at Brickfield at Commonwealth was really, really something. Want to draw attention to this game, Hamilton at BC, as nobody expected the Ticats to win this game, let alone cruise to a 30-13 victory. Taylor Powell, 18 of 23 passing. Incredible.
Yeah.
222 yards, had a touchdown, clean as far as, turning the ball over. James Butler was a beast with 118 yards on the ground. And 36 through the air. Vernon Adams Jr. put up the yards, 326. Keon Hatcher led the way with 107. That was the game high. But Zach, for whatever reason, Hamilton just looked like a completely different team. And my theory, I was talking about this with Hustler on Winnipeg Sports Talk today. My theory is where did this come from for Hamilton? Well, you notice Scott Milanovic is now the offensive coordinator, and suddenly, even with a third string quarterback, the Ticats look like a completely different team. They look dangerous offensively.
They're running the ball. We talked about this earlier. I think Tommy Condell was ousted because he didn't have a balanced attack. They weren't running the ball, and they paid all this money to James Butler. It's kind of political there. Like, you're paying this marquee running back all this money and you're not using him. Well, it's easier to replace Tommy Condell than replace James Butler. And here he goes off on his former team for over 100 yards. Great for Hamilton. You don't want to, you want to see parity in the CFL. I want to see the Bombers kick the crap out of everybody every week. Maybe some squeakers on the road just for fun to keep the ticker on its edge. But honestly, it's fun to see. Nobody thought that would happen in Hamilton. That's what makes the CFL so great, that a team can go in who has lost a bunch of games in a row and they can beat, we talk about Toronto, Winnipeg, and BC being in the top tier. They can beat a top tier team, and not just beat them, spank them, right?
Mm-hmm.
30-13.
Yeah. No, it's really something. It's Gregory Liverpool asking, does Event Strategy Productions and Brenda Bourns do weddings? He really wants to know because he's been in the live chat. He's asked 2 or 3 times now.
Has he really?
I have
Do we need to know something, Greg?
If you want to know something, it's that Brenda can do anything. So you contact her, brendabourns.ca. You know what? I'll pull it up one more time, just so you guys have it. You can connect with her, brendabourns.ca. I have no doubt she could do a wedding for you. I'm sorry to bring it back as I caught you mid-yawn there, Zach.
You caught me mid-yawn, but I thought I was going to sneak that in. I got up at 6 with the little rugrat, and then you got
into the forest. You can't just open the back door and let him run around the yard, right? You got to.
No, we were out in the forest by 7 a.m. as soon as it was light out, because he's just an animal inside, Darrin. But in the forest, it's his natural element, or just walking around the neighborhood. He's just an outside kid. It just calms him down. I'm sure it's not unlike other 2-year-olds, but nobody cares about my son's vicissitudes. Let's get back to the CFL.
Well, I was going to say, if you need a little energy punch, you can have a cup of coffee. You can have a Red Bull or whatever if that's your thing, or you can hear from the number 1 Canadian for my dollar and the dollar of many in the CFL today. Here's my conversation with the CFL's leading rusher, Blue Bombers tailback, Brady Oliveira.
How's life for Brady Oliveira these days?
It's good, man. Yeah, it's everything is going well. I'm in a very good spot right now in my life, with obviously in the locker room here with the guys and personal life and all the endeavors I do off the field. Everything is just working. Everything's working very well together. So life's good, man. I'm blessed.
Before we get into the football, tell us a little bit about the stuff you're doing off the field in the community with with your pops and
Absolutely.
And everything else.
Yeah, so obviously everyone knows me. The animal rescue stuff keeps me busy. Going up to First Nation communities, helping them out wherever I can. Delivering dog food, bringing dogs back that need to be rescued and then cared for here in Winnipeg. And then helping out at Winnipeg Animal Services, Winnipeg Humane Society, stuff like that. And then I'm also an ambassador for the Variety Children's Charity. So actually a cool thing we're doing, every yard that I get, the sponsors, Monopoly Realty, they're paying $5 every yard I get. So I think the tally right now, we're over like 1,200 yards. So whatever that math is there. So it'll be good. Lots of money going to the kids. That's why I need to keep racking up these numbers. But yeah, so I'm doing lots of volunteering with Variety. They had a bike camp. It's called I Can Bike for kids that have never biked and want to learn to bike. So I did that for a couple days and over a couple weeks ago and helped these kids learn how to ride a bike. So yeah, just trying to I've been blessed with so much in my life, and I feel like it's only right for me to give back to others because it's what has gotten me here. So I got to give it back.
You're a young guy. It's not common that young guys or people at least in their younger years. Like, how old are you now?
I just turned 26 on August 15th.
Yeah, and you're already involved in all these charities and giving back to the community. Is that something you were, that you've always had?
I think it was how I was raised. Yeah. I think it's how my mom raised me and my two siblings. Be charismatic, be a good person every single day, even when no one's watching you. When you leave and you go to school and mom's not there, how are you acting, right? How do you want to, hold yourself with, and I was raised to hold myself with high character and integrity. So my mom did an incredible job raising me and my siblings, and I think we owe it to my mom. She raised three great individuals.
Those Winnipeg values.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So things are going really well for you individually on the field. The team as well. You guys have won 5 straight games. You're leading the league in rushing. Last year, new career mark for you, hitting the 1,000-yard mark for the first time, and this year you've eclipsed that, and you're looking to have a really big year. What's working? What beyond maybe some of the things that you've always attributed to, is this just because it's one more year of growth?
Yeah, I totally think that's it. I think every year you're going to continue to see myself as a football player and then a leader for this football team to continue to grow, continue to get better. And in my notebook for prep every single week, when I write my notes down in meetings, I write on the top of it 1% better every day. And that's kind of been my whole motto this year and continuing moving forward is 1% better every day and keep stacking good performances on good performances. And I think continue to do that and have that growth mindset that, by every game you play, you're just going to continue to get better. And I'm still young in my career, so it's exciting because I truly do believe sky's the limit for Brady Oliveira, and I'm not even near my prime yet, so it's exciting. So, yeah, I just think I'm playing with a whole lot of confidence right now, and then also on the same page as offensive line. We're obviously my second full season starting with this group, and we just got lots of chemistry right now. We're on the same page, spending lots of time in the meeting rooms. Maybe after practice we're chatting about different looks and just ultimately being on the same page. We're going out there and they're doing a tremendous job right now moving guys up front and allowing us to go get those yards.
Is it an unfair advantage for a tailback when you got a quarterback like Zach Collaros?
Yeah, I think it definitely takes some pressure off the run game for sure. With having a guy like Zach, the best player in the league, and having the talent that we got across the board at receivers, I think it helps. I enjoy that because it does take the pressure off the run game and the guys up front, knowing that, if there's ups and downs in a football game, if things aren't going well up front in the run game, at least we can, rely on, Dembski, Lawler, whatever. We got the pieces to do something in the pass game. So, yeah, having Zach back there definitely takes some weight off my shoulders.
Half the season's in the books, looking towards Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl. How's the body feeling?
Yeah, I feel really good, man. I spend a lot of time of just taking care of my body. I have a set schedule, a set routine that I do. Cold tub every single morning when I get here. I work out first and then cold tub every single morning before I head into meetings, and then after practice I do all my recovery again. But I've made sure to do that every single day, and I haven't missed a day of doing that. And I truly think that's what's helping me to continue to come out here week after week, practice after practice, and continue to go and put out performances like that. And ultimately, I do that because my teammates deserve it. You know, I owe it to my teammates to be available every single week. I know when I'm on the field, I can help this team win football games. So, yeah, man, body feels good. That's because I'm spending a whole lot of extra time here at the facility, even though I could be going home. But, you know, what matters to me right now is being ready for my teammates to go out there and play physical football games.
What's your advice to young guys, young players that maybe don't have the cold tub or don't have the amazing facilities you guys have here with the Blue Bombers?
Totally. Well, I'm a huge. I love the cold, the hot and cold exposure, and if you don't have that, I mean, most people have a bathtub at home. Fill that thing up with cold water, dump some ice in there, and just start cold tubbing. It's so important for recovery, and get sleep. That's been a big thing for me, getting into bed at like 9:30 and getting solid sleep in. I think that's really allowing me, and like you got to make some sacrifice along the way, and that's exactly what I've been doing this year, and it's helping. It's definitely helping.
So 9:30 to bed, enough time to watch Bonfire Sports before that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly, no doubt.
The Rough Riders defense is led by a very talented and deep group on the defensive line. Tell me about looking towards back-to-back games against them.
Yeah, they're good. You know, with Larry Dean in the middle there and their D-line, they feel like they can, you know, that group could control the football game. So, and I mean, they've done a good job. So we're going to have a good challenge ahead of us. These are my personally favorite games of the year. This time of the year is when I think the true season starts. I'm not a fan of the games you just played before this. I mean, I got to play it because it's my job, but this is when I love this time of year. You know, the weather's going to start to change here in a couple weeks. It's going to start getting cold, and it's you know, it's Bomber football. It's our identity in the run game when it starts getting cold. So I like this part of the season. Second half's always the funnest for me, and these two games coming up, especially you know, Labor Day and back here for Banjo Bowl, is going to be fun. But we definitely got a challenge on our hands. That Riders D they're solid. So we're going to go out there and give it our all and play physical. I'll grind them all game and go to work.
Brady Oliveira with some interesting insight into his recovery methods, you know, some advice for the young players out there. Being raised right here in Winnipeg, I think that's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know, when that's you know, one of the predominant reasons why he's out in the community doing things, not because, you know, the team told him to or others have encouraged him. He wants to do that as a young guy, which is pretty awesome. And then you know, I had to ask, like, you know, a little bit spoiled when Zach Collaros is your quarterback, because it's not like teams can really key in on him, because if you just allow Zach to, you know, utilize the pass game, you know, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, as my uncle used to always say.
What I love about what Brady said, first of all, now we know, Darren, why you and I aren't professional athletes. We never did the cold tub with ice cubes. That's what stopped us, right?
That's what it
But
was.
what I love what Brady said is one, in his career he's just getting started. He said he hasn't even hit his prime yet. He's only 26. And then he's saying, which is kind of analogous, is, you know, this year he hasn't even hit his stride yet, buddy. Like, now is when he starts to, when the rubber hits the road. He's already leading the league in rushing by 250 plus yards. Like, what is he going to do in the second half of the season? It's crazy.
Well, they've only had the one bye week, right? So it's probably a reason why he's you know, so far and away ahead of everybody else. But I mean,
but still, he'd still be ahead by over 100.
Is this
at least?
Are these the early years of a, you know, sterling career? Is this something that Blue Bomber fans are going to get used to, hitting 1,000 yards mid-season, or, you know, being in that vicinity? It's really something, man. That he's 26, hopefully, you know, taking care of the body. Hopefully that holds up and he's able to turn it into a long career. But what a great weapon the Blue Bombers have. It's like, oh, they got Zach Collaros, and okay, they got Dembski, he's the best Canadian in the league. People thinking coming into the year, right? Oh, they added Kenny Lawler to Dalton Schoen. There's two guys that could lead the league in receiving, on their own. Oh no, it's the Canadian tailback, the second round draft pick from a handful of years ago that is arguably their most potent player.
Yeah. No, he's an absolute hammer. I always call him the hammer because he loves contact, and you just love him for it. I hope his body holds up, and I hope he has a beautiful long career in Winnipeg, Darrin. And one day we hold him in the same esteem as we hold guys like Andrew Harris and Charles Roberts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously early, but things do look good as far as that prospectus. Good morning, Roy, joining us from Thailand. Good morning.
Sweet.
He said, good morning, gents. Yes, great to see you. Great to see everybody in the live chat. Waiters and Andrea and Spency and Sandy, I saw you in there saying hello. How are you? Robert joining us, and everybody. It's awesome. If you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up. Just do it. Quick and easy.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay.
Should we get to my sober second thought?
Yes. Let's
I'll
have
bang
that
it out
now before we get into our awards.
Yeah, and okay, I'll be quick. So as always, folks, I do a question, a concern, and a crazy good moment. The question is, here's our Achilles heel, maybe our kick coverage, Darrin. It's been weak. And my question was, did it improve this game against Montreal versus the game against Calgary, where Tommy Lee Lewis had like almost an average of 30 yards a return, which is really bad. Well, it didn't improve. This week, Worthy had an average of 29.4 yards, and we are last in return yardage allowed. So the question is, no, we're not any better. I mean, I think you'll talk about this with what you saw in practice, but Teodric Hansen might be coming back. We need Mike Miller back. Like, I think those are two major pieces in the kick coverage game that I think we're struggling there big time.
Is that total yards allowed, or is it yards per game or per attempt?
I think it's total. We're last in return yardage allowed.
Winnipeg is one of the only teams that has only had the one bye. I think that can skew it a little bit, but I agree with you. Fair. I agree with you. It probably is an area of concern. Yeah.
Well, 29.4 our average is bad. That's bad for kick return. Yeah, but you're right. That probably skews it. You could look at I think we're in, sort of in the lower third of the CFL for average return yardage. Not total, but still not good. The concern, I hate to say this, I know our friend Sergio Castillo came in and solidified the kicker position, 92.4% in field goals, but he's missed 4 PATs, buddy, and he's second last in PAT completion percentage. The only guy he's ahead of, Mark Leggio. Now, the Bombers have scored more touchdowns than any other team. So that could be skewed. He's done it more. He's had 38 attempts. But you still don't like to see him miss those. And I would just hate to see him miss one in the big game like Leggio did last year and that come back to bite us. Because that's one of the reasons why we went after Castillo when he became free, right? We just got him. We got him right away when he was released. So, I hope he solidifies that. Okay, crazy good moment. I'm actually going to give it to Marc-Antoine Dequoy from last week's game, a Montreal player, and it's the analysis that Glenn Suter provided that Dequoy robbed the curl. So he on his pick six in the second quarter, which put Montreal ahead 17-14, their last lead of the game, and the last points they score actually. Dequoy made it seem like he was playing a deep coverage, and then he robbed the curl route of the Bomber receiver, and he just completely fooled Zach. He wasn't where he looked like he was in the pre-snap read, but then his curls were robbed. His beautiful long curls were robbed because Zach got him back in the second half with a Kenny Lawler touchdown, which really put the game away, Darrin, where again Marc-Antoine Dequoy tried to rob the curl. And so Zach knew, he saw this and he's like, okay, he's not going to play deep. So he had man coverage on Kenny Lawler one-on-one. And of course, Kenny Lawler's going to win a lot of those one-on-one battles. And Lawler was all alone in the end zone. So Zach got him back, buddy. So Dequoy robbed his curl. And then Zach made him his curls robbed. That's all I'm going to say. That's my sober second thought.
Love it. Love it. I love
Yeah.
that you bring that, look back perspective to Bonfire Midweek here every week. Do you want to get into our mid-season awards? It's the unofficial start of the second half of the season when the real season begins, as so many say. While Winnipeg, I don't think will be in the running for every award in 2023, or at least have a good candidate for every award in the CFL in 2023. They do have some candidates that are favorites at the halfway point of 2023. So while we were breaking this all down, here's a little inside ball for you guys. Zach and I realized that our ballots were identical. So let's just present who the Bonfire Sports mid-season award winners are. And we'll start with most outstanding player. Of course, the Bombers have a guy that has won a bunch of those, even the most two recent.
Yeah, it's gotta be. By the way, we got to hear your practice update after we do this, because we can't. I don't want to miss that, because you were at practice.
I teased it and I didn't even get to it. Eh?
You're a tease, Darrin. We all know that.
I am. Well, hey, look. If everybody out there lists their ballot, MOP, most outstanding Canadian offensive lineman, defensive player, special teams player, most outstanding rookie, hit up the live chat right now. If you're watching this afterwards, hit up the comments down below. I read them all, but do that, and then we'll get into the practice update.
Rob Mahoney's giving me shit. He's saying, who is this Schnitzy guy? Hey, listen, Dequoy played well, but again, the crazy good moment was Collaros when he got him back, because Dequoy tried to go to the well twice. He got Dequoy. He just got Dequoy. We should use that. Anyway, Collaros, Darrin, I think he's the quarterback, right? And it's always going to skew to the quarterback to the most outstanding player when all things are equal, because the quarterback touches the ball most. They're most responsible for winning a game. He's third in the league in passing yards. He has the most touchdowns. He is the second highest quarterback rating in the league. And this is the one I love, this stat, Darrin. He has the most passes over 30 yards. And that's what I love most about Collaros, is if he has a shallow look and a deeper look, and they're both open, and the deeper look is a little lower percentage of a pass, he's going to throw the deep look. And odds are he's going to nail it too. Right? Yeah. He's so accurate on the deep balls. So I just love me some Zach Collaros.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Spency asking, who copied off of whom as far as our ballots being identical? Full disclosure, I copied off of Zach. I did.
Listen, it makes me look good that it was the same as yours, buddy. You have a lot of knowledge, my friend.
You don't know that. I just said, oh, yeah, no, I have the same picks as you. Collaros runaway. For most outstanding player on the Blue Bombers. Maybe runaway is strong. There's a lot of really, really good candidates there.
What about Willie Jefferson, though?
I do think Willie Jefferson's the best player in the league. I do.
Yeah. So how can he not be your most outstanding player on the Bombers then, if he's the most outstanding player in the league? Well, what's going on here?
MOP is not MVP. It's
you're going that way. Okay, I hear you.
You know what? You're making me reconsider now. Gosh. Live on air.
Ooh.
And now I'm reconsidering. Maybe we'll have to revisit that next week.
Moving you off your post there,
revisit that debate. Yeah, I mean, well, that leads us into most outstanding defensive player. It's Willie Jefferson, top to tail for me. 8 sacks, 10 knockdowns, a bunch of forced fumbles. He's an impact all over the field, dropping into coverage, for crying out loud. He's the most outstanding defensive player in the league, in my opinion, definitely on Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffcoat does a lot. Biggie does a lot. He captains that defense. We've seen guys like Evan Holm really step it up this year. The Tarpaulin, of course. But you must have just been, shitting bricks when it looked like the tarpaulin was hurt last game, buddy. Like
He
the
took a
sweat must
smack.
have been beating. Yeah, but
He
he came
took a
back.
smack, but did return in the same quarter. So very
Yeah.
positive sign there, and practicing this week. No worse for wear. So very positive.
And may have gotten receiver Herje Mayala cut. He
Oh,
was released by Montreal. He failed to make a tough catch on that 3rd and 2 that Fajardo
was
threw
he
to him.
released by Montreal? I missed that.
Yeah, he was released. Now, he was the guy that Fajardo targeted on that desperate 3rd and 2 play when they were down 30-17 when the game was slipping away. They go for it on 3rd down, which I actually liked because the Bombers were going to run away with it otherwise. And they didn't make it, but Mayala almost made a really tough catch on Dietrich Nichols,
And
who
they
was
cut
30
him.
plus yards.
I can't
And they
imagine
cut
they
him.
cut
Now,
him because of performance.
I don't know.
You
I don't know.
no, I don't get that. Canadian
Yeah,
receiver, starting
yeah.
Canadian receiver.
Yeah, no, I thought he was a pretty good receiver. I mean, a lot of guys wouldn't have made that catch. I hope it wasn't just because of that.
Yeah. As Waiters just mentioned there, Demario Houston for something is what Waiters said.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
I think he's in that conversation for most outstanding defensive player on Winnipeg as well, but probably comfortable across the board giving it to Willie Jefferson. Most outstanding offensive lineman, Zach.
Mm.
How did you come to your conclusion for this one?
Okay, so I think the Bombers' offensive line has really stepped it up. They've really, Darren, only had one bad game, and that was the 30-6 beatdown in June 22nd by
Hmm.
BC. Other than that, they've been solid as heck. They're third in sacks allowed. Um, They are first in average gain per rush, so that's a huge stat. Second in rush yards in total, and Ottawa's first in rush yards, and a lot of that's because Dustin Crum. So that's not from the running back position. That's Dustin Crum. So from the running back position, we're really killing it. And I thought, who quarterbacks the offensive line? That was what I was asking myself. And it's the center. It's Chris Kolinkowski. I think he deserves some love. I think it's only his second year.
As
He's
a starter.
last
Yeah.
year as a starter, exactly. Like last year he subbed in for Michael Couture when he was hurt, and now it's his first year as like the bona fide starter. And the unit has very good stats and it's performing well. So I think you got to give him some love.
I like that. James in the Peg saying Jake. I imagine Jake Thomas, like for most outstanding Canadian. Interesting. I like that
And
actually.
he's got a few sacks.
Yeah. Um, and then for me, uh, I chose Kolinkowski. Like the Pro Football Focus
Yeah,
metrics are there. You're right. It is tackle they say is the hardest position to play on the offensive line. I just think it's time to give some of the guys on the interior a little bit of love, right? And for
yeah,
Kolinkowski to come in to essentially Wally Pip Michael Couture, and all credit to Michael Couture. Great guy, great football player, and I'm sure he's happy to be, in his home province of British Columbia, signing with the Lions. But Kolinkowski has just been a rock, solid,
yeah, yeah,
and he's centering for the best quarterback running back duo in the league. And they run the ball when they want to run the ball. They pass protect when they need to pass protect. And, he's a smaller guy. Walby and I were talking about Chris Kolinkowski being a little bit on the smaller side, maybe a bit more than a little bit on the smaller side. His technique is outstanding, clearly, because he's taking on the biggest, strongest players in the league. I get that there's double teams. They'll double team Mike Rose. They'll double team Mike Moore. They'll double team. Some of
Armando
Armando
Sewell.
Sewell,
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah.
thing. But he's getting it done, and I think that just gives him the most outstanding offensive lineman award. Before we do most outstanding Canadian, which I think brings the most debate, most outstanding special teams player and rookie. Who do you like for
Okay,
those?
dude. My rookie is a guy who's put 8 punts inside the opponent's 10-yard line, which is second in the league, and that's Jamison, not Jameson. Jamison.
Jamison.
Jamison Sheehan. To be honest, I think, he on the statistically he doesn't, he's not up there in the top third of punters, But I think just the eye test and just seeing the way the different kicks he has in his arsenal, and then the way he has puts together some beauties, um, in terms of putting them in the other put together some beauty. What am I talking about? But I'm just saying he's put he's had some really sterling punts inside the opponent's 10-yard line. Plus, I don't know who the heck else to pick as a rookie because the Bombers don't really have any rookies on this roster. It was such a seamless transition from last year, Darrin. I don't know who else to really pick, to be honest.
Yep.
Celestin Haba was having a really good start of the season, 3 sacks in 4 games, but he's been injured, right?
Yep.
So then you have other guys like this Miles Fox guy who was interesting. Maybe if he could have gotten the lineup more, or
It hasn't been in the
Anthony
lineup.
Bennett.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the lineup. Anthony Bennett is a rookie. He was our top draft pick in our first
I don't know
round. He
if
hasn't
Miles
done.
Fox is a rookie.
No?
I
Okay.
think he might have
Oh
been
no, you're
on
right. He's not.
BC's
He
roster
was with
last year.
BC.
Yeah.
You're right, because O'Shea said how much he liked seeing him on film in BC.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Bennett, our first round pick. I don't think he's played poorly, but
Well done.
he hasn't really stood up. That's beautiful, waiters.
Yeah. Time for a sandwich.
Almost,
A little peanut
almost as
butter and jam
beautiful
soup.
as almost as beautiful as waiters putting all the old Bomber full games on YouTube, so you can
Oh,
watch them
careful.
without
Don't
commercials.
ruin it. Don't ruin it. Um,
Oh,
so I
and
agree with
special
you
teams.
for most outstanding rookie. I give it to Jamison Sheehan because he's really the only rookie that has seized a starting job.
Yeah,
Um, and for most outstanding special teams player, I mean, Janarian Grant, the way he was playing prior to injury, I think was probably a favorite at the league level. But I give it to Sergio Castillo right now. I know drew a little criticism to his missed converts this year, but when needed, that's when a kicker earns their dollars. When needed, he performs. So he's Winnipeg's most outstanding special teamer. I know there's some guys making a lot of tackles, Kerfala Exume and uh, oh gosh, the
Hallett
name's
has a few. Hallett has a lot of tackles too.
right. Yes, Nick
Yeah,
Hallett. Um,
yeah.
but for my money, I'm giving it to Sergio Castillo.
I'll give
Tanner
it to him
Cadwallader,
too.
Tanner Cadwallader,
Yeah,
Tanner Gaskill Cadwallader,
Gaskell. Don't forget the Gaskell.
with a bunch of tackles this year too, but still giving it to Sergio. So we mentioned Nick Hallett, um, or sorry, we mentioned Janarian Grant. Let's get into a practice update. Day one, ahead
Wait, wait,
of.
wait, 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 wait. Hold up. What about a
Oh my
most
gosh!
ascended Canadian?
Whoa, my bad. Flag,
Whoa, pump the
flag.
brakes,
I'll take
DB.
15. I'll take 15.
15-yard unnecessary skipping
Major
penalty.
foul.
Skipping ahead. Most outstanding Canadian. We both had the legend, or the looming legend, maybe. Brady Oliveira leads the league by almost over 250 rushing yards.
Get into the live chat right now and give us your reasoning why, or if you disagree, and then why you disagree that Brady Oliveira is the most outstanding Canadian on the Blue Bombers. If you think it's Nick Dembski, let us know in the live chat. If you agree with us, let us know that you agree.
Well,
I'm
Brady,
with you. He, especially with the way Winnipeg was been able to just like run it down teams' throats, 10-minute
yeah,
drives to lock
yeah.
down games, to eat up almost like a quarter of the football game. It's incredible that they're able to do that when the other team knows it's coming. That's Chris Kolinkowski. That's the offensive line. That's Brady Oliveira. That's great play calling and great play design by Buck Pierce and the offensive staff. But I mean, I don't know how you don't say Brady Oliveira is the best Canadian in the league today.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's no slight to Nick Dembski, who's having a phenomenal year and could crack 1,000 receiving yards this year, Darrin.
Yep.
But I think it's Brady. I mean, like I said, he's like I've said about 50 times, he's leading the league by over 250 yards rushing. Now they played more games, right, than any other team. They're not any other team, but they played 11 games. A lot of teams have played 10, and Kadeem Carey's been out for a lot of the year. But still, I mean, he's still crushing it. You know, another
Mhm.
cool stat. This guy is third if you take into account his receiving yards too and his rushing yards. He's third in combined yards in the CFL, like combined yards, and that's against kick. So the guys that are ahead of them are Alford and
Lee,
Terry Williams,
Terry
who
Williams, yeah.
are returners. So they're
Chandler Worthy would
racking.
probably be in that too, right?
He's up there, but
Yeah.
Oliveira's ahead of Worthy. So those are guys that are receiving and running, and also, of course, the kick returns and punt returns. He's up there with those guys. That's crazy. Like he could crack 1,400 yards rushing this year if he continues on this pace, which will eclipse Andrew Harris's best season as a Bomber, which I
Yeah.
think was 1,300 and something.
Yeah. Uh, Great point by Kurt watching live on Facebook. What's going on, Kurt? Good to see you back in. When Dembski is not in the lineup, it's very noticeable. Couldn't
Yes, it
agree
is.
more. That's huge.
100%.
Like, who
Great
would you
point.
rather be without? There's a good
Yeah.
question to answer.
Yeah.
Who would you rather be without? Be without Nick Dembski or be without Brady Oliveira? I mean, it would be easy to say, oh yeah, one receiver compared to your feature back, but I mean, think of it as like you have one play. Who do you want to be
Yeah.
without? I
Yeah.
would rather I would rather have Nick Dembski for like a one play situation. Um, because he can kind of do everything.
Yeah, he
But
can.
yeah. Gregory, Nick
Because
is more
yeah.
versatile and more of a weapon on offense.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's quite
just
possible.
I just think
Hard to argue.
Nick Dembski gives you the element of surprise because you don't know where he's going to come out. Is he going to come out of the backfield? Is he going to run a post route? Is he going to just run a short curl or whatever? Brady Oliveira, I like what you said. Like they know he's going to run the ball and they still can't stop him.
Oh, the legs
And
churning. He's spinning. He's
and
pushing.
I thought he had his signature game last week against Montreal. He runs one in, like, what was it, 26 yards for a touchdown off tackle, showing his speed, right? He's a power back. That's what he's known for, like hammering guys. He showed his speed, and then that speed out or whatever route it was, which he caught the touchdown pass on, he just raced out to the flats. Nobody was near him. And again, showing his speed, Darrin. So the guy is versatile.
Yeah. Granny Bomber fan. Dembski is our Swiss Army knife. Well, I call
Yes.
Nick Dembski the Canadian Army knife. Let's remember the flag that he flies, right? It's red and white, but it's not the Swiss.
No, that's right. Good.
Yeah. So there are, I don't want to jump the gun here. I don't want a procedure call, but those are our 2023 midseason awards.
Yeah, what do you think, Firestarters? Agree? Show it. Do you disagree? Tell us. Join the chat. Hit the like button too while you're at it.
Yeah.
Darrin, okay, practice update. Now it's your turn to finally get to that.
Yeah, okay. You know, a lot of people in the live chat asking, any chance we see Janarian Grant or Mike Miller soon? To answer it in a word, no. I don't think it's soon. Mike Miller has not practiced or been healthy enough to participate on the field in a long, long time. Janarian Grant running sprints today. First time I've seen him on the field in a while. We asked Mike O'Shea about Grant a week or two ago, and it was like, is he still with the team? Is he rehabbing somewhere else? What, no, he's still here. And then sure enough, day one of practice this week, he is out on the field and running, but not a lot. Probably still going to be a while. I wanted to make sure, did I pull it in here? Yeah, okay. I don't know if I have it, but Teadric Hansen was really the news today in pads, practicing, I would say fully or as close to fully as, he has this year, but first time in pads, first time really participating in practice, 12 months to the week. He has suffered an Achilles injury in the Labor Day Classic last season. We've seen it now with Kyrie Wilson and his recovery from an Achilles injury. We've seen it with Jeremiah Masoli recovering from an Achilles injury, and now Teadric Hansen. It seems like the consensus among medical professionals or the true experts is 12 months. like almost like don't come back before 12 months, because we have seen that happen and those players sometimes get hurt again. So great news on Teodric Hansen coming back. Boon to the special teams, boon to the defensive line rotation. I don't know if he'll play this week, Zach, but sooner rather than later, Teodric Hansen will be back. Celestin Haba, speaking of the defensive line, he was practicing for the first time in over a month today on the 6-game injured list. He has 4 weeks behind him on the 6-game injury list. 4 games he has been on it. So now that he is in his 5th of 6 weeks on the 6-game injured list, he is allowed to practice with the team. Same goes for Malik Clements, the Blue Bombers' weak side linebacker, who stepped in very admirably, I would say, for Kyrie Wilson when he was hurt and recovering. So he is a week or 2 away from returning to the Blue Bombers lineup. That is all good news. But Janarian Grant, Mike Miller, probably not sooner than later. Shane Gauthier not practicing today either, injured a couple games ago. Did he end up on the 1 or the 6? I want to make sure I get that right.
He just came back, didn't he, Shane Gauthier?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he missed a game. Then he came back this past game. He was not practicing. That's right. He was not practicing today. So, that's kind of the picture of how things were at Blue Bombers practice. Brandon Alexander climbed the ladder today, made a fantastic catch or interception of a deep ball. I think it was Drew Brown throwing deep across the middle, right at the goal line, right at the posts. Really, really nice play there. What else stood out to me? It was, the crowd noise. They start pumping in the crowd noise. It is unbearable. And it's interesting too. I've noticed through the years, the Bombers have kind of changed that crowd noise to sound more like an actual crowd. It used to kind of be like cheering mixed with like a train sound and train horns, and then like the reggae, the reggae sound, like this. They play that with the crowd noise, right? To kind of like emulate the air horns. And sorry, everybody out there if that was loud, but it's literally at the point where like me and DT and John Liu and Jeff Hamilton and Ted Wyman were all at practice today. We're either fingers in our ears or wearing like headphones to block the noise. It is crazy. And they don't just do it when the Bombers offense is on the field. They do it when special teams is on the field, like the punt team and the field goal team, because that the crowd's going to be loud for those instances as well.
Yeah, so hopefully the offense is getting their snap count right and cadence, all those things that get thrown off. But that's some great insider info, DB. Love it.
Oh, far from insider. Far from insider. Dozens of
You're an
fans
insider.
at IG Field for practice this week, which is always really cool to see. Do want to mention that? Did you know hockey season is right around the corner?
I did.
Did you know
You told me last week
that NFL season is right around the corner? Keep it locked to Bonfire Sports. We have got Jets hockey coverage. We have got NFL football coverage. New programming coming here to the Bonfire. So Firestarters, break in a new lawn chair and join us around the Bonfire for NFL season, for NHL season. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Hope you can come along with us. And if you like that news, hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Appreciate that. That's always good. Yeah, there we go.
I can't wait to find out. Well, I just want to say I can't wait to find out who your NFL and NHL Schnitzy are going to be.
Oh, will there be a Schnitzy? That's a good question.
Yeah, will there be a Schnitzy for those shows?
Good question. Good question. Kevin Sproul asking, NFL coverage this season from Bonfire? Oh, you bet. You bet.
Nice.
A bunch of people I've found your comments. We're going to get to them after Schnitzy and I do our picks for SIA.com/bonfire. You want to get into it?
Well, first you wanted to talk about power rankings.
Oh gosh.
You're trying to just rip this show up. Like you're trying to get it out of get
Just tore up.
back.
I just tore up the show plan.
You did, but that's okay. Like
I'm all over the
we had a
place.
lot going on today. Well, maybe you just want to end it. You're sick of my face and you just want to end the show quickly.
No, no, no. I don't want to end
You're
the show.
sick
Everybody's
of
having a
my
good time.
face. You're sick of me.
Everybody's having a good time. Uh, what I want to do is what Zach Collaros does. Alan Hayes, watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Alan? I don't know if I've seen you before. Welcome.
No.
Hi, DB. Does Zach Collaros have the option of calling any audibles from the line of scrimmage in any given game? Or are most of the calls coming from Bucky? Asks Alan. Buck Pierce, of course, the offensive coordinator. Great question. This is what I want to do tonight. I just want to call audibles and freelance a little bit, freestyle out there, little and one basketball, if you will. Yeah, absolutely. Collaros is able to audibilize at the line. What football teams do is they will implement, there's different ways that they refer to it, but like hot reads, right? Or a fire word, right? So they will yell that word at the line of scrimmage and it negates the last play, or it changes the current play as far as, the protection scheme that the offensive line and running back are handling in a pass, a pass situation. The run play could change. They could change it from hot routes, like quick ins from Dembski and Bailey and Schoen, to them going long, or vice versa, saying, hey, the DBs are playing way off, fire, or whatever the word is. And that would, indicate to Kenny Lawler or Dalton Schoen or Nick Dembski, hey, just, quick curl route or whatever they have. Those things are in place. So absolutely the center, Chris Kolinkowski, will call out what he sees at the line. And then Collaros, being the quarterback, will also call out an audible at the line of scrimmage. It's not as straightforward as, we called a run play to Brady, and I'm going to, call a completely different play at the line of scrimmage. It's more like little adjustments that they make. Yeah.
Good answer, buddy. I love it.
Yeah, I've been learning a little bit of football, talking to people through the years,
You
and
know football.
working with the Winnipeg Rifles has been incredibly insightful. Working with Chris Walby has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's try to be a sponge, right? Absorb as much information as you can. But great question, Alan. Appreciate that.
Well, my understanding is the defense calls the play first, right? So you're looking to see what the defense is giving you, and then do you call a play, or is that where you audible, or does the play come in simultaneously with the defensive call?
No, it's simultaneous. It's let's meet at the line of scrimmage, right? Yeah, the defense isn't.
But the defense doesn't. The defense often shows its alignment, and then the offense reacts to it. No.
Right. That's when a quarterback may choose to audibilize if the defense is showing something they weren't expecting. Absolutely. But defenses will also hide what they're doing, right? How often do you see Adam Bighill like right up between the defensive tackle and the defensive end, looking like he's blitzing, he's given the okay, here I come, and then he drops into coverage, right? Or even the halfbacks like Dietrich Nichols, who has been blitzing quite a bit this season, last season as well. He'll look like he's shading off of his guy and coming to the inside, and then end up just covering his man normally. The safety, is Brandon Alexander coming down? They do all these things to mask it, right? And as we heard from Zach Collaros today, when I asked him about what defenses show and what to expect and that sort of thing, he says, sometimes you never know what you're going to see when you get to the line. So yeah, does the defense call the play first? I mean, the defense shows something. The offense also shows something. Where's Nick Dembski? Is he in the backfield? Is he lining up out wide? Is Drew Wolotarski in motion? Is he coming down to crack down on the linebacker? If it's some sort of sweep play to the outside, what's happening? It's all about reading keys, right? And trying to pick up what the other team is doing before they do it.
Yeah.
3D chess, as we've talked about, right?
3D chess, I love it, or 4D chess even, if 4D even exists.
Oh
okay, Who's number one in the league, Darren? Is it Argos or is it Bombers?
Yeah, is it time to reevaluate this? It's tough when these two teams who were in the Grey Cup last year don't meet until, what is it? They have one meeting
September
this year, September
29th.
29th.
Yeah.
It's, it's over a month away for Winnipeg. Um, I mean, that's a shame, but it's hard to say this team is number one and this other team is number two without them having played each other. Uh,
Yeah.
I understand why pundits, so-called experts, actual experts, and everybody in between um, give the Toronto Argonauts the benefit of the doubt because they are the defending champs. They are a team that really has only lost one game.
Yeah. And that was
And
with Chad Kelly out.
yeah, Chad Kelly did leave that game early. You're right.
Yeah.
But, the Blue Bombers are a 2-loss team. They did get blown out by a team. They did have a late game collapse, which, you could debate either way as far as, how culpable they are for that loss, or how egregious that loss was. Toronto's points for and against. They played 9 games. They have a plus 101 point differential. The Blue Bombers have a plus 119 point differential, but have played 2 more games. So
Right.
they are pretty evenly matched. Winnipeg 4-1 on the road, 5-1 at home. Argos obviously 5-0 at home and 3-1 on the road. Both, they are incredibly evenly matched. But the reason I wanted to get into this today was, should Winnipeg be number one in the power rankings just based on reputation and resiliency this year, or is it Toronto because, well, they've really given less reason to everybody to think that they're anything but number one?
Well, and it's going to be real. You're right. It's hard to separate them, but it's going to be really interesting to see how Toronto handles the fact that they've already had 3 of their buys, all 3 buys.
Mhm.
Now they have what, 10 games in a row or 9 games in a row to play. They're 8-1. They have 9 regular season games in a row. We'll see if that comes back to bite them a little bit, but I think it's tough to say. I mean, I get that the Argos are the defending Grey Cup champs, but I mean, that was like one play here or there. I mean, they were pretty evenly matched in that game. And this year, I just think, I don't know, that the argument for the Bombers would be that they play in the tougher division. So they've had to play tougher competition. Like, they've had to play BC twice. They played the Riders, who are at least 500. Um, they played well. Edmonton's now coming on. They played Calgary twice. I think those teams are better than Ottawa and Hamilton, that the Argos can kind of pick on. When I looked at the statistical categories, like in offense and defense, Winnipeg is ahead of the Argos in most offensive and defensive statistical categories. But it's special teams where the Argos really have an edge on the Bombers. So
Yeah.
in 2 of the 3 phases, I think the Bombers are a better team, but I don't know. I would give the edge to the Bombers right now, even though they've lost 2 games versus the Argos losing 1. But I just think the strength of the division is sort of in the Bombers' favor.
Let me ask you this. If Winnipeg played Toronto next week in Vancouver or in Montreal or in Dryden, Ontario, what would the line be? Who would be the favorite?
Like on a neutral site game, I think the Bombers would be favored by 2 or 3 points.
Yep. Yeah, I
Do you
agree.
think so?
I absolutely agree. Hit the live chat, everybody. Want to know what do you think the line would be in a neutral site game today between the 9-2 Blue Bombers and the 8-1 Toronto Argonauts? Who knows? We might just see a Grey Cup rematch back to back, like we saw with the Bombers and the
With
Ticats
Hamilton.
in 2019
Yeah.
and 2021. Poof, crazy.
I got to tell you, as a Bomber fan, it's really made me hate the Argonauts. Like I really despise them.
You do, eh?
I want to crush them now. Like I just that Grey Cup loss, and now they're 8-1 with Chad Swag Kelly. Like I want them to just make the Argos look pedestrian
Hmm.
on September 29th at home. It would be really nice. And then wipe that smug grin off Andrew Harris's face. Just a
Oh,
smug grin.
oh my.
Yeah.
Let's get into our picks for Labor Day weekend, CFL Week 13 for SIA.com/bonfire. It starts on, uh,
Saturday.
yes, that's right. No Thursday, no Friday games this week. Saturday, Lions at Alouettes, and on the road going all the way across the country. The BC
Yeah.
Lions, 4-point favorites, coming off a loss last week. They have lost 2 straight, 3 of their last 4 games. That, struggle for the Lions all started when the Bombers beat them 50-14 back in week 9. But 4-point favorites in Montreal. Zach, you and I haven't even made our picks per se, so I'll just go through these. Lions favored by 4 on the road. That's an interesting line, I will say that. Bombers open as touchdown favorites in Saskatchewan for the Labor Day Classic. The Argos, 7.5-point favorites as they go down the 401 to Hamilton to take on the Ticats, coming off a huge win in BC. And Edmonton, 5-point dogs as they are hot, but still the dog in Calgary for the Battle of Alberta on Monday. So
Okay.
you got to make your 2 picks, Zach. I guess we can go to our picks, and here they are for SIA.com/bonfire.
Jeez.
Might I say, Zach, if people can see, you haven't won a game since the Bombers blew the BC Lions out of the water.
Oh my God. This is embarrassing.
So you went from +4 to staying at 4 to 0 to -4 to -7. You
Wow.
missed on Montreal. They weren't able to cover, or sorry, you had them with the points.
Yeah.
But the Bombers ended up winning by 30. And then you took the Argos -10.5. They were only able to win by 8 against the Stampeders. So 3 units down the drain. You're sitting at -7, reminding everybody to bet responsibly. It is fun. It is a game. That is it. Myself, I have gone 0 for 4 the last 2 weeks. So not much better than you, Zach, but going into the last couple weeks, I've been playing much, much better. I missed on BC. They obviously lost. Ottawa, when we did the show on Wednesday last week, there was no line on that game, Ottawa at Edmonton. But I said I would take Ottawa, the points, whatever it ended up being. I think it was something like Ottawa was favored by 5.5. If I remember correctly. Either way, they lost. So I wasn't confident, just putting 1 unit on each. So I dropped from 8 to 6. But this week, Zach, who do you like? I always let you choose first. And I know you always like to pick the Bombers. Or
You let
at
me.
least
You
the
let me.
game that the Bombers are playing
Yeah.
in. So what do you like?
Well, like you let me pick first, and I'm still like sucking hard here, but I appreciate you letting me pick first. Can you imagine if I picked second? I'd be even worse. But I will take the Bombers 7 points. I think they can beat the Riders by 7, even though it's on the road in Labor Day and the crowd noise. I just think the way the Bombers' offense and defense are playing, and they're playing against. If it was Trevor Harris, I don't know that I would. I don't know if I'd pick them to cover the spread of 7 DB, but
Mhm.
I think because Jake Delagalo is starting, and I think they have film on him now, they're gonna confuse Jake Delagalo. They're gonna pick on him. I think the Bombers win this game easily. And maybe it's close in the first half, but I think they'll pull away in the second half. And I'll put 3 units on it because I got to catch up to you. I'm going full tilt poker here, buddy.
Oh
I'm
man.
behind by 11 points. I have to catch up, so I'm going to put
So you
three
got
big
Winnipeg
ones.
-7, 3 units. And then what's the second game you're taking? Do you like the Lions Alouettes game? Do you like the Argos Ticats? Or do you like the Battle of Alberta?
I like the Battle of Alberta. I like the Elks. They're red hot. I like Trey Ford. I think Calgary's beatable at home, which is what you said. I think Jake Mayer's been up and down. He had a good game last game. Maybe he won't have such a good game this time. Maybe I'm on the hype train here, but I'll put one unit on the Elks as 5-point underdogs. I think they may lose the game, but I think it'll be a tight game. They may lose by less than 5, or or maybe they win outright.
5.5.
5.5. Oh, good, even better.
And is it 5.5?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought it
it's
was
5.
5.
Okay. And then how many units on Winnipeg?
3.
Oh, confident man. Okay.
Yeah, not like you who picked 2. Well, you lost twice, but you only put one paltry unit on each. Come on.
One
Where's the
paltry
cojones?
One paltry
Where's the
unit.
cojones?
Yeah, well, hey, if I might say so myself, there's a reason I caught up to you through these weeks, and it's because I put 3 here, I put 3 here and hit, I put
All
2
right, all
there and
right.
1. I hit on both of those. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to put some units down. Okay. So if you're taking those 2 games, that leaves me with BC home, in Montreal, 4-point favorites. I think BC is going to rebound. I can't imagine them losing a 3rd straight game. I can't imagine them not rallying the troops with where they're at right now. So I am going to take BC with the points in Montreal. I think they win by a touchdown. And then I'm left with Toronto at Hamilton. Toronto, 7.5-point favorites. Oh, this line, geniuses made this line. That is a great line, similar to Winnipeg -7. Those are outstanding lines by the odds makers. So I will take Hamilton and the points.
Of course you'll take Hamilton.
Yeah, you know me, right?
You love those Tiger Cats.
So
In fact,
Hamilton,
my friends Andrew and Caitlin, their son, his favorite team is the Tiger Cats. They're Winnipeggers, and mom and dad are huge Bomber fans. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that kid.
I will put, you know what? I'll put 2 on each. We'll see how
There
that
you
shakes
go.
out. We'll see how
Finally
that
some
shakes out.
guts. Finally some guts.
Give me a break.
Put your money where your mouth is, units. Your 4 units. I like it.
Whew.
I don't
We'll
think
see how it shakes
either
out.
of
And
us.
remember, it's fun. If you guys want to, SIA.com/bonfire. And if you use that exclusive link, you help support the channel and you'll get a 100% bonus up to $1,000. So if you deposit 20, you deposit 200 to, 800 or $1,000. Once that initial deposit clears, you make bets with that cash, they will credit you with a 100% match in bet credits to use like real cash to bet. So if you deposit
Yeah.
$100 and you bet $100, you'll then suddenly have $100 in bet credits that you can use like real money, up to 1,000, which is outstanding.
It's pretty good.
At Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook, Canadian company. So keeping the cash where it belongs, right here in our beautiful country. I don't want to jump the gun. I'm gonna let you do the snap count, Schnitzy, because I don't want to forget something. Okay.
I don't
Quarterback's
think
off
we
his game
forgot
today.
anything. We got everything. The good thing the offensive line is holding you upright, buddy, and the run game's good. We're fine. We
Yeah,
can't be perfect. We'd be boring.
absolutely. Who is
I
not
I
boring? If you need an
yeah.
event, Brenda Bourns and her team will make it one to remember. Definitely not boring. So if you have an event or you got an idea, call Brenda. Reach out to her team with Event Strategy Productions, full service event planning, production, marketing, sales, promotion, everything in between. They'll take care of it all. Get ready, get game ready with Event Strategy Productions. We know what you're thinking. You can find information to connect at BrendaBourns.ca. And for those listening on the podcast, BrendaBourns.ca. You spell Bourns, Bourns, BrendaBourns.ca. She is an absolute star. You got to call her. she will help you out. And I mean, she has worked with Gatorade and the NBA and the NFL and the CFL and the NHL. She represents professional athletes. She has put on events from the smallest community center to the biggest venues in Canada. She is incredibly experienced and just an absolute gem. So go contact her. And again, if you need it, I'll put the link in the description of the video pretty much as soon as we wrap up, because I forgot to do that before the show. Yeah.
Sweet. Hey,
Right, Schnitzy? Hey, what do you got?
Well, the chat is great tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know who this Spency person is. They may be new, but I'm liking what they're throwing down. No, I will not be putting my mortgage payment on rent, Spency. On red, not rent. But someone was asking, do you see Tyrell Ford coming back to the NFL before we get out of here?
From the NFL.
Coming back to the CFL. Yeah. Do you see that happening, or is it?
Mike O'Shea was asked about that today. And he shared kind of what people in the know, and that is, if you have received that NFL opportunity, you don't come running back.
Yeah.
You hang around and wait for another opportunity because you're still on the radar, right? So, people were asking about Nathan Rourke. Any info on Nathan Rourke? Well, Rourke was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but cleared waivers and agreed to a practice roster deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So $12,000 a week, not too shabby. American money too, and getting to live in Jacksonville and practice with Trevor Lawrence and work with an incredibly talented staff. Not too bad. I can't imagine seeing Nathan Rourke in Canada this year or next year. Chris Streveler, maybe next year. We'll see. But to answer Tyrell Ford, no, I don't see him coming back to Winnipeg anytime soon. Spency was also saying they should award a trophy to the team, the best team overall. I can't believe they don't do that. So I'm guessing like a President's Trophy, but for the CFL. It's interesting.
Yeah, the Bombers would have won it last year.
Yeah, just pulling up some of the best comments from today. Dan Asham, how do I get a bonfire hat? Hang in there. Stay tuned. Brenda might even help us. Yeah.
Oh, no, that would be good.
Why haven't the Bombers done any trick plays? Asks Granny Bomber fan. I will answer that question with a question. To you, Zach, have the Bombers needed a trick play this year?
maybe in the BC game, but the one we lost 30-6. But no, I reluctantly say they haven't needed it. But I do miss the Riverboat Gambler Mike O'Shea trick plays that he would run, like the fake field goal and the fake punts and things like that. But no, we don't need them. I think he's once bitten, twice shy. I think once he got bitten by the trick plays in the playoff games. I think, or not trick plays, but he had that 60-yard field goal for Medlock in BC Place instead of going for it on 3rd and 4. And then that next year he had that fake punt against Edmonton, which really killed us. I think he's, I don't know, maybe Wade Miller came down to his office and said, enough with the trick plays. We don't need them anymore. I don't know, but I would like a trick play once in a while. Just here, maybe a couple times a season, just to spice things up for Bomber fans.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't need them, I don't think you want to show them, because trick plays take time to develop, right?
Yeah.
And once you show it, then everybody sees it. Everyone can steal it. I think you want to keep that ace in the hole and use it when you need it. That's just my take. But great question, Granny Bomber fan.
Yeah,
always good to see you in the live chat. Want to also pull up, Arlen's right. The like button has been tackled. Have you made your tackle tonight? Get on it. Do you remember this, Zach? A year ago, the debate between Brady Oliveira and Johnny Augustine?
I do remember that, especially the beginning of the year. Hey, like Brady was really struggling, and I think it was a game in Calgary where Kevin Burgoyne, one of the coaches on offense, said, "Hey, just be Brady Oliveira. Don't worry about being anybody else." But until that moment, he was struggling.
Charlie Dufo in Edmonton, Winnipeg Sports Chapter in Alberta. What's going on, Charlie? Great to see you and all the Bonfire starters and Winnipeg sports fans joining us from wherever you are. But yeah, in Alberta in particular. Peter mentioned with the crowd in Regina and the noise, how can you not be up for this game? Willie will make sure they are ramped up. Love the little video clips that the team shares of him getting the guys fired up, in the scrum prior to the game. It's always a
Nice.
great thing to see. This is interesting. Earlier tonight, Gerald was in the live chat and he mentioned Rider fans here in Sask wildly optimistic about Jake Dolagala, respectful of our defense, hate Craig Dickinson, and think their defense will intercept Zach Collaros many times as they have had the bye. So time for more film study. Collaros has thrown some picks as of late, but he was really clean to start the year. Respectful of the defense, no question. It's something I failed to mention in the show, Zach. The Saskatchewan Roughriders defensive front and their middle linebacker, Larry Dean, they're really, really good. Go and watch the highlights of, you can find them on YouTube or CFL.ca. Go watch the highlights of this past the game 2 weeks ago, Saskatchewan's last game against the BC Lions. Like, it was something watching Lanier and Larry Dean and all these. They teed off, they brought pressure, and watch how the pressure came too. It's like they bring everybody on one side of the line of scrimmage and then they twist these guys in and bring them in from the right. Like, it's incredible to watch. Jason Shivers, as Zach Collaros was mentioning in answering my question to him earlier today, that Shivers throws wrinkles and wrenches at his opponents, and no doubt they're going to be doing a lot of that in this back-to-back series, because you can't do the same thing game to game in, game out, when you got to play the same team twice. Saskatchewan, they're scary on defense.
Yeah, and they're coming off the bye, and we know well-coached teams. I'm not including maybe Craig Dickinson in that. I'm not a huge fan of his either, but Jason Shivers, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
I think when you have the bye, you can game plan for a couple of weeks for the Bombers. They've already seen them once this season. I think that's what I'm saying. Maybe the first half will be pretty close, but I do think we'll pull away in the second half. But it should be a great game, buddy, and I can't wait to hear you and the man, the myth, the legend, Walby talking about it. When you'll go Saturday?
Yeah, we're going to go Saturday. Normally we do 3 p.m. the day before the game. We might do it a little bit earlier on Saturday because it's a weekend. Walby's going to join me from parts unknown for Game Day Winnipeg and our pregame show here on Bonfire Sports. Postgame, as always, Schnitzy, you will join me. We will spark the embers and get Game Day After Dark going here in the postgame on Bonfire. Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun, but this was a great show. There was a lot to get to today.
Sure
and if
was.
you missed any of it earlier, go back and watch, the interview with Zach Collaros, my one-on-one with Brady Oliveira, and me chirping Schnitzy.
I deserve it. Come on, I deserve it.
Oh,
But I am at least the man and a myth. Maybe I'm not a legend, except in my own mind, but I'm a myth.
You're definitely a myth. No
Yeah, I'm a
question
myth.
about that.
Me winning the pool here between us with these units is a bit of a myth. I mean, I'm so, what am I, 11 points behind you now? Jeez.
Yes, that's a tough
I'm
go.
struggling.
No, you are 13 points behind me. You're -7 and I'm +6.
Oh, you're +6. I thought you were +4. Jeez.
Yeah. Sorry.
Brutal.
Bud. Sorry,
Brutal.
bud. Well, on that note, reminding everybody, Jets hockey, NFL football, even more than your favorite CFL team. We got you covered here on Bonfire Sports. Stay tuned to that. Tell your friends, share the show, put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on your Instagram. Let everyone know if they're headed out to Regina for the game. Number 1, travel safe. Number 2, watch and listen to Bonfire Sports. We got tons of stuff coming this week, a little bit more than normal because we know that the appetite is there for coverage of the Blue Bombers and the Rough Riders going into this beautiful Canadian sports rivalry. I would say the greatest sports rivalry this country has. Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and looking forward to to this weekend and Labor Day. Have a great Labor Day, Schnitzy.
Yeah, you too, buddy. You too, buddy. And shout out to Section 128, Vicky, Arlen, all my friends there. Yeah, I'm a mythosaur, Scott Roger. Love that reference. You know, I'm a big Star Wars geek. Yeah, now I'm just rambling. I'll
Well,
just say it, Darrin.
final
You
word,
know
as
what
I
I
always
say.
leave to you, my friend.
Sayonara, everybody.